Hello, everybody. My name is Spencer Brown. I am Marketing Support Analyst at Dickinson and Associates, and I would like to welcome you to our webinar on reimagining e-commerce with SAP CX. So I would like to thank you all for joining and also point out that if you have any questions throughout the webinar, you can ask them via the Q&A button within the Zoom application. We will answer questions toward the end of the webinar, and if there are any questions that we do not get to, we'll follow up directly after the presentation. So with that said, I would like to pass things over to David Nowak.
Hey, thanks a lot, Spencer. And thank you to everybody who took the time to, out of their busy day to attend this session today. Hopefully we will hit some topics that are of interest to you and kind of maybe shed some light on some areas of e-commerce technology that, that may be new. So with that, we'll go ahead and we will jump right in and we'll start talking about reimagining e-commerce. As far as an agenda goes, we will start with a quick introduction of who will be leading conversation today. Talk a little bit about Dickinson. We'll then jump into our headless commerce discussion. It'll be a quick primer on what headless commerce is, the benefits, where the market is going. And then we'll jump into Project Spartacus, which is SAP's technical platform supporting a headless commerce experience. We'll finish that section up with a general overview of progressive web apps and where they play in this headless commerce platform. And we'll use that as a segue into our next section, which was a discussion on SAP Upscale and a demo of that product, which I think you'll find engaging as it's something that is coming to market in the B2C, DTC space, and really offers a compelling solution for that market. We'll close after that demo, and then we'll take some questions. Quick company overview who Dickinson Associates is. Dickinson is a SAP-centric consulting company with a broad set of delivery capabilities around ERP, S4, and SAP's cloud suite of products. We are based in North America and the US, with headquarters in Chicago, but have capabilities around the world and have delivered products in North and South America, Europe, and Asia. Currently, we carry roughly 160 or so SAP professionals, which have a broad set of skill mixes that support our focus on ERP, S4, and cloud. Our team typically averages around 17 years of SAP experience and over 20 years of business experience. Headquarters in Chicago, as I mentioned. We have satellite offices in Cincinnati, New York, Annapolis, and have a support area and development lab in Hyderabad. Our speakers today will be myself, David Nowak. I'm the VP for Client Engagement and CX for Dickinson Associates. We have Gleb Vegween, who is SAP's solution engineer around customer experience. Gleb brings a significant amount of background in commerce, as well as marketing, customer data cloud, and experience management, and will be walking us through and demoing SAP's Upscale product. And we have Ravi Chinuru, who is the lead technical architect for Dickinson around commerce, and he'll be available to answer any technical questions that we have in that space. So headless commerce, what is headless? I love the term headless because it has such great connotations and you think of removing a head, but ultimately, we have to compare it against what is typically seen in the marketplace, which is typically mostly referred to as monolithic model. That is like what we see with our Commerce Cloud solution. Today, the back end or commerce engine is connected to the front end, which is the UI platform, that part that your customers interact with, and it's delivered as a single connected system. The benefits of that type of monolithic view is it's much quicker to get to market. So speed to market is important. It is generally a lower cost approach because these systems are delivered with an accelerator option, just like what we see with Commerce Cloud. So if we are going into a B2C client, we will almost always start with the B2C accelerator, which comes with it a whole set of features and connectivity that would have to be created from scratch if we didn't use that model. Drawbacks to these systems, and what we're going to talk about today, is they have a limited capacity to deliver front-end, a true omni-channel enriched customer experience. The front-end and back-end systems move in unison, which means that if I am making a UX change, I am moving the entire system when I'm looking at monolithic. And ultimately, I end up with multiple code bases when I support multiple channels. So the drawbacks of a connected system is that it potentially limits you in the way that you want to reach your customers. When we look at headless, which is what we see on the screen today, we are looking at something that is more of an API-driven environment. The head, if you will, is represented by the different UI systems, whether it's a web browser, it's a wearable, it's a kiosk and a storefront, it's a mobile device. These all become independently managed UIs that are effectively connected to your backend system using a fairly robust API platform. So when we think of head, we're thinking of the UI itself. The platform, though, becomes the secret sauce, if you will, when we look at the APIs. So just like when we think in terms of how we use APIs today, these new API sets that are connecting these backend systems with the front end are a much more robust product offering, which means that we have a deeper access to the commerce engine itself in the terms of data and capabilities. So why this shift? So I know I've given you a number of good answers, but there's plenty of research to show that companies are investing in ways to reach their customers better. What you see here on the screen is an analysis done where that Forrester had finished where customers are investing their money in commerce today. And most of the money that is going out the door is in this area of API-based headless commerce. Driving the investment really in this area is that pressure that we all feel of the ever-increasing customer expectations that are out there. Our customers are looking for ways that says, how can you engage with me better? Additionally, the ability of headless architecture to deliver meaningful customer experience across multiple channels was too important to ignore. And that is a lot of what we're going to cover today, is how can I transition my current environment into something where I can engage with my customer in the way that they want to do business with me, rather than how I'm able to do business with them. So a couple of reasons. Why are we seeing this shift? Well, as I referenced here, one of the bigger reasons is that we're looking for a way to enhance our customers' experience. So generally speaking, in the early days of e-commerce, it was, here's a picture of my product, and I want to expose it to you in the easiest way and the quickest way I can. The days of simply showing your products, though, are over. Customers' demands for an engaging buying experience now trump even price when it comes to building brand loyalty. Everything is in how I can extend that relationship and keep them engaged with my brand and my products. A second reason that we see is the growth in the availability of channels. So what you see in our before screen is kind of a picture of a connected system and the growth in channels from storefront to wearable to mobile to browser to even Alexa and Siri. As we see this growth in channels and devices, we see the added complexity that is put forth when I have a connected front end and a back end system. As I mentioned earlier, each of those devices then are managed and independently with a different code base and ultimately with a different database. By transitioning into a headless solution that you see on the right, I now have a single database handling all my URI requirements with no interdependencies. I now have the ability to operate and build out a logic for cart function through an API-driven interface that can address both my wearable device as well as my browser, and still deliver a unique experience to both without any additional cost. The third reason that we typically see is performance. What we're trying to showcase here is that as I'm moving from a traditional connected model into a headless environment, I will see performance across the board and how customers react and how they What we're showing here on the screen is we use the traditional commerce connected approach as the baseline, so that being 100. And what we're showcasing is that as I have key points of contact with a headless environment, I'm seeing a significant improvement in performance measurement across that board. So whether I'm looking at my homepage analysis, where I see a 70% increase in performance, all the way down to my cart capabilities and functions where it's nearly 100%. By moving into a headless environment, I am going to present to my customer a way to engage in my environment the way I want them to and the way they want to, but also at a pace and a speed that will not leave them behind and disincentivize to spend time. So benefits. So this is an overview just to kind of leave you with some thoughts on what we're talking about when we get into headless. The biggest piece is that by going headless, I can finally introduce a true omni-channel experience. The ability to easily, quickly add storefronts, or in our case, our UIs, to support any of the new digital channels, arguably the most important benefit we have. If we think in terms of what is occurring in the market today with COVID and the importance of being able to transition and shift attention in that way, by being in a headless environment, you can quickly adapt into the ways that the customer wants to engage with your brand and your products that a connected storefront cannot manage. If you're seeing trends whereby you know that within this region, mobile is growing, whereas in another region, it's more browser, you can conveniently deploy unique strategies to each of those channels without disrupting anything that's occurring in the back end. 2, personalized customer experience. Customers are demanding that they be able to interact with your brand and your products in a way that they want to. For us, that means that we want to make certain that we are presenting to them products and services that are right for their area and for what they're looking for. So whether it's improving search on wearable devices, or if it's the fact that I want to begin to shop using voice, whether it's through Alexa or Siri or something that's in my car, or if it's something along the lines where that I anticipate more shopping support through a conversational AI or an AI-led merchandising strategy, I want to make certain that I'm putting the products and services in front of my customers that they want to see and at the price that they want. Third is their speed and agility, leading to quicker adaptation to changing requirements. Again, we'll not only reference COVID, but we want to reference the fact that the markets change and the speed with which they change is ever increasing. We anticipate that the growth in channels and the way that the customers want to interact with our products will continue to expand in the coming years. 2 years ago, we would have never thought that wearables or voice would have been such an impact, but here we are today. The fact that social media buying is growing at the pace it is something that 3 years ago customers and clients would have not understood. You know, we've all been buying in ways that even I hadn't imagined, and I know that all of us have anecdotal evidence of buying, whether you're buying through Facebook or Instagram. Those are unique channels that need to be addressed in a way that are different than how I dress through my browser or my website. And then fourth, Complete freedom of design leading to improved conversion rates. This is key to all of us. All of us are looking for ways to increase our average order value and to lengthen the time a customer spends with our products. So with a traditional connected storefront, some customization capabilities are offered out of the box. Templates are available to be used and manipulated, but they're limited to a degree. You can achieve greater feature sets, but that comes at a cost. What we want with Headless, on the other hand, is almost limitless in its capabilities, leading to building out use cases like intelligent cross-selling, IoT loyalty programs, proximity marketing, as just a few examples. By moving into Headless, it offers you the world and understanding not only flexibility in moving to where your customers want you to be, but it also allows you in a very cost-effective way to move in and out of markets very quickly as you see them come up. So that brings us through kind of a general understanding of headless versus monolithic, right? It's the idea of disconnecting your commerce engine with your UI interface and allowing you the ability to more directionally position products and services. So let's talk about Spartacus. Spartacus is SAP's open source commerce platform, and it was initially released in May 2019. It's written using Angular. Spartacus has a published set of libraries so customers can easily take advantage of newly released features and functions. The OCC, or the omni-channel connect, is that set of RESTful APIs that allow the commerce backend to work effectively with the Spartacus UI storefronts, that API layer that we showed earlier. A huge benefit of Spartacus versus going 100% custom is that SAP continues to make a large investment in this platform. As an ever-growing list of out-of-the-box features that we'll showcase later will represent that SAP has invested in this and will continue to invest to make certain that Spartacus allows you to jumpstart every headless engagement so that in the back end of every process, you are saving 75 to 80% of your development cost. So let's talk a little bit more about this product here and what it means for you. So being open source allows, obviously, the capability to develop as necessary. The framework written in Angular allows you a much broader access to move than what the traditional development models are providing. The layers that you see on the screen at the very bottom, the automation engine at the bottom of our screen as a platform as a service is that connecting piece of work that allows for our build and deployment. It continues to offer our monitoring through Kibana, as well as tracing activity through Dynatrace, and that remains consistent regardless if you're connected or decoupled. We move up through our channel to get to our commerce engine. Again, the same powerful commerce engine that we say in the market today with CCV2. We'll continue to offer all of our consent management, authentication, pricing, catalog. Everything is contained in that same core. So the work that we're doing there remains in place. As we move up and we get into Spartacus, we begin to introduce the new capabilities, which is our API layer, the OCC that we mentioned. So as you're looking at the screen, think in terms of the arrows that are connecting the Commerce Core into Spartacus. Each API is offering one or many services. What we've highlighted here is just a handful of the services that are available. But these are pre-built, pre-contained APIs that can be developed and extended broadly. But if you chose SAP has done enough investment in development in the space that you can get 80% of any store right out of the box. A great benefit of moving this in this direction. So when we think in terms of Spartacus and we think in terms of use cases, we always go back to this example, that by deploying a solution of this nature, we imagine a buying journey where a customer is out on their laptop and they're shopping and they're making some decisions. Then they move some products in their cart. They get in their car and they pick up their cart. They decide to go. They want to go do some comparison shopping. They're looking and feeling. They open their progressive web app. They pull up their cart and there's their cart and their product and all the details, easily available on their mobile app. They happen to go into the store that they were looking to find the product. They walk up to a kiosk, flash a quick QR code, and all of a sudden that kiosk is able to pull up everything that's on their part. That kiosk is built and designed for an augmented reality set, and that I can now, through in front of that kiosk, I can actually, through AR, I can actually see that product on my body. All starting from a browser journey, start earlier in the day, to being able to go and interact with a store kiosk without having any loss of continuity of that shopping trip as I move through. And that store and that product are fully aware of that entire journey and able to offer a discount code just as if they had bought it online. That is where the market is moving, and that interconnectedness and that ability to have that omni-channel look and feel is supported completely by this type of product and this type of setup. We're offering here a list. We're not going to go through this whole list, but I wanted to give everybody who attended the opportunity to see the current feature list that SAP has invested with Spartacus. If you were to not use Spartacus, every one of these capabilities would have to be built out from scratch, which leads to, obviously, considerable development time. These are very powerful shells that can stand on their own, but each of them are API connected and offer the ability to extend well beyond what SAP is offering here. But this jumpstart, as I mentioned earlier, represents 75 to 80% of your initial ramp up for any headless project. We leave it here just for your awareness. You will have access to this as you download the presentation at the end of the webinar. Okay, we're going to transition in and we're going to talk a little bit about PWAs and progressive web apps. And as I put here, the rise of the progressive web app. PWAs have been in the market for quite a while, but have begun to gain traction in the development circles because of the move into headless and the speed that the customer is demanding when looking to interact with sites or products or services. So what is a PWA? And in the best term I have, PWAs combine the best features of two distinct worlds. A native mobile app, think of all those apps that you download from any iOS or your iOS store, and mobile optimized websites. It's combining the feature of those two to give you a single point of view and a single product. PWAs can be installed on any mobile device, if you will, like any native app, or can be run from any browser, but it does not require access to that device's ROM, which is a powerful thing. I've included some feature sets, but they're certainly not limited to this. But what we like to always showcase is that PWAs are installable. They look like an app, they act like an app, but they operate more like a shortcut in terms of how they interact with the device. They provide an app-like experience. They're developed inside an app container. They are able, because of the access that these devices offer through their service worker connection, I am now able to take more advantages of the device capabilities. Think of Face ID and your thumbprint logon and access to other capabilities of the device than I have in the past, which make PWAs a very good option when compared to native apps. They are discoverable, which means that SEO possibilities exist as PWAs can be indexed. They work offline. Every device stores some amount of data, so therefore you do not necessarily always need to have browser connectivity to get these applications to work. Always up to date. They're re-engageable. Push notification is enabled for all PWA activities. And they're linkable. Deep linking is possible as each page is a separate URL. So they hold a considerable amount of power in the market today, and they offer the ability to get quickly to market, does not require the same entrenched place on your phone from a mobile that a native mobile app does, and allows you an interaction because they no longer have to update through downloads and update sequences on the phone. Basically, when the next time that they access that app, they're getting the latest and greatest features. So I pulled out some stats here talking about PWA usage, and so to be fair, native app mobile development is still the king of the mountain, if you will. But I like to have a comparative to see where are things going, and I always encourage people to look at their real world market. You know, we all have apps on our phone. You know, I probably have 70 apps on my phone. I look at 4 of them. So I don't, you know, I couldn't tell you the last time most of them were updated, and you know, they're basically downloaded, used once and forgotten, but they're still there. 90% of internet time spent today is utilizing some smartphone using some app, whether it's native or PWA. That's where the trends are going. They will continue. We will see some of the transition going to other devices as they come online. Wearables are gaining some strength, but most of what we see internet access in both shopping and research and reading is on your smartphone. But trends are changing. The average app download per month is 0, which I find that stat harder to believe, but I believe what they're showcasing is that there's some exhaustion with downloading apps. And it comes down to what I said earlier, is that most people realize that they're not spending as much time on app development. But again, what are some drivers for usage? Speed to market. Pages are loading slow. Higher friction rates. Native apps are losing popularity. Fast and consistent UX. Getting people to understand that the PWA development is a little bit more user-friendly. And it's an engaging UI. I'm going to leave you with just this is a picture of some of the brands who are becoming more aware of the power of PWA and have begun to implement that technology stack as part of their technology platform, their technical platform for go-to-market. And now we're going to transition the remainder of the webinar. We'll transition to Upscale, and I'm going to turn it over to Gleb, who will walk us through what Upscale is and be able to showcase the product. Gleb, it's all yours.
Awesome. Thank you. Thank you. I just need to start sharing here. Once you stop. There we go. And we are here. Perfect. Awesome. Well, hello, everybody. Gleb Veguin here from SAP, here to talk about SAP Upscale Commerce. So right now, you know, you may be asking yourself, SAP Upscale, SAP Commerce Cloud, why, right? Well, really, we're looking at it from a best of both worlds scenario, right? Commerce Cloud really provides that tailored fit, highly customizable solution for kind of B2B, B2C, B2B, B2C complex use cases, right? Where Upscale really differentiates is really this kind of segment of direct to consumer, being able to engage customers across multiple different channels. As David just mentioned, you know, channel is everything today. And how do we quickly and cost effectively build rich experiences across all of these different channels, whether it's online or whether it's in store. and the ability to deploy this in days as markets are changing, as business models start to shift as well, as a B2B organization wants to start a direct-to-consumer channel. Well, this is the greatest solution for that because it allows you to have that flexibility, that capability to sell more and easily go live quickly. Now, if I was to summarize SAP Upscale in one slide, this is it right here, right? So it's really that next generation B2C commerce platform, really created for direct to consumer, specialty retail, CPG industries that allows you to have very low total cost of ownership. Mobile is the name of the game here, meaning that out of the box, you're able to create progressive web applications, native app applications, right? Endless aisle kiosk and your progressive web app as well for your desktop. Really being able to have all those channels at your fingertips. Built into the solution as well is distributed order management. So a robust order management module that allows you to do things like buy online, pick up in store, buy in store, ship to home, or even put specific products on continuity. So think of Dollar Shave Club right out of the box. Also, you have a ton of different deployment options. You have an out-of-the-box deployment where you can build your own progressive web application with our WYSIWYG component kind of tool builder where you can create that progressive web app. You can also customize the specific storefront, or you can go completely headless utilizing all of the APIs and microservices in this technology. So it's all microservices driven. We provide you essentially with that head to create the PWA, or if you want to, you can go completely API first, connect the backend of Upscale anywhere you need to. So think of, Alexa, connecting it to a car, connecting it to a smart mirror, for example, right? So really, it provides you with the flexibility to go and choose your own journey. Now, since we've built this solution from the ground up, it has been built with intelligent AI from the core, right? So within that, you're able to market or merchandise specific products on the storefront powered by AI and intelligence, right? Pushing specific products that are high in inventory, have high profitability, have maybe low exposure, pushing those specific products right away into essentially the visibility for that browser as they're shopping within the PWA native app or even in-store kiosk. And lastly, as I've mentioned this as well, is out of the box, it provides you the capability to build once and deploy across mobile native app, mobile progressive web app, tablet progressive app, desktop progressive app, kiosk and in-store. And from kiosk and in-store, whether it's an endless aisle scenario or even a fulfillment kind of application where a store representative can actually fulfill orders with an app built out of the box within Upscale as well, which I'll get into in a little bit here. Now, so really, when we bring it all together, you can go ahead and use the code-free, low-code, no-code deployment to get live really quickly, right? At the same time, you can also choose to go the microservices route as well with all of the different exposed APIs. The solution is multi-tenant SaaS, meaning that it gets new features rolled out every 2 weeks. So you're always on the latest version, very easy to stand up. And on top of that, it has built-in smarts, so for merchandising, for distributed order management, also for optimizing when to send specific products on subscriptions or put specific products on subscription to really optimize that stickiness with the customer and turn them into brand advocates. Now, within this demo today, we're going to be going through and following Coffeefy. They're a North American coffee producer, traditionally a B2B business, selling to restaurants, to hotels, etc. And as a result of COVID, they've had to quickly pivot and actually create their own direct-to-consumer channel. So some of their goals are launch a direct-to-consumer channel with little IT involvement. They want to optimize merchandising quickly because they don't have a ton of direct-to-consumer based historical data. They want to make sure they have AI from the get-go, so really intelligence built in. And then lastly, they want to test this new business model quickly and cost effectively across multiple different channels. And in this demo, we're really going to be seeing exactly how they're able to do this with SAP Upscale, where they're able to build new experiences within minutes and deploy across different devices and optimize for those different channels. Now, just to break it down a little bit of kind of what Upscale is, right? We're able to have this omni-channel layer, right? We utilize something called Blade technology that allows you to deploy the commerce engine across all of these different devices. You can build once, deploy across many, or even build individual experiences for individual touch points. Really totally up to you so that you can really deliver that unique experience. So think about a Christmas application for specific Christmas coffee that only has Christmas type beans, right? So boom, you spin it up, you add the specific products into that catalog, and then boom, it's optimized for that. Within that as well, we have the experience layer, right? So we'll be seeing how to utilize and build these experiences easily with no code, low code deployment, and build whatever experience we need to, whether it's in-store kiosk, whether it's mobile native app, whether it's progressive web application, and power it with specific category management, that product there. And what we've done as well is actually taken AI and created it as a widget. Right, so now all you have to do is select specific AI widgets, where you want them to be, what page do you want them to be on, and then boom, the engine is going to power it and improve profitability of your product offering. And lastly, right, because this is all API driven, it's completely headless, right? You're able to also actually go ahead and bring your own third-party applications such as AEM or Adobe Experience Manager if you want to manage that kind of experience or that storefront yourself through a third-party CMS. And lastly is really this execution layer, is how do we get that product ordered to that customer as effectively as possible, and how do we improve profitability through that AI? And I'm going to be going through all of these different aspects here in this quick demo. So feel free to ask any questions in the chat and I will dive right in. So what I'll do here is, as a browser, I've arrived at the Coffee Progressive Web Application storefront, right? As you can see the URL up here. So it's not a native app, although it looks and feels kind of like a native application. What we see here is actually the storefront built with the no code, low code deployment with the different specific components that come out of the box. And what we've done is actually created the idea or the notion of storybooks, being able to create dynamic content that allows you to add categories, products, articles, all within one single space, rather than having to be locked into specific themes. Now, what's really powerful as well is we can add a specific product right to the homepage where, once again, because we're able to create this as a progressive web application where it can take in specific functionalities of a native app right here on this website, I'm able to go ahead, boom, one tap buy, right? So within Upscale Commerce, you get that one tap buy from Apple Pay or Google Pay right out of the box right there as well. Now, as I go ahead and continue shopping, we have powerful category management built in as well, where you can go ahead and start narrowing down to your specific products or your specific categories and browse the specific products you want to look at, right? So here we're looking at these beans. As you can see, I can do swiping motions here as well to really have that app-like experience when I'm browsing on a web browser. So as I go back into these beans, what I can do as well is right out of the box here, I can go ahead and order these on a subscription for every 3 months for 10% off. So this is really that auto ship capability right out of the box. So as I go ahead and pay, what I'll do here is actually change it to I'll just send it to myself. I usually have a different email here. So what I'll do here is actually go ahead and purchase these beans right here as well. So what this is doing is also actually sending an email to me, which is built into the solution as well. So I'll show that in just a second also. Now, as I head back home, right, we come back to the home page where we're able to actually go ahead and browse specific, products on the home page, but also we're able to go ahead and browse specific articles. So what is fundamental in e-commerce, especially in the direct consumer space, is actually the ability to merge commerce and content together. Customers, right, new to your business or new to your business model, want to learn a little bit about the product. So right here, we're able to put a specific storybook, right, and even power it with AI so that it's boosting specific products within this specific category related to this article to push specific revenue generating profitable products right to the top here so that the Colombian decaf is front and center to really help boost that profitability. Now, as I head back home, what we'll do now is actually see how the sausage is made here, right? How is that product loaded? How is that experience created for the progressive web application? So one thing to note right here, right, as we create that order, we're actually receiving an email confirmation. But on top of that as well, you can actually drop AI widgets right into the email as well. This is an older email, and this is before I gathered kind of enough data to push next sell products here. But here, what it is that the AI as a widget is not limited to just the storefront, but also across different channels such as email, where you're able to drop that specific widget right into the email. And now you can recommend specific products to those customers for their next purchase. Now what I'll do is actually dive back into this Coffeefy storefront. So exact same URL right here, right? However, it automatically adapts for the desktop experience, right? You can add video content. Here are all those specific components, right? And we can easily browse just as we did on the iPad there, right? But obviously with less kind of app-like functionalities such as one tap buy. Now, as I go ahead and dive into the Upscale Workbench, what we're going to be able to see here is actually kind of the back office of SAP Upscale Commerce. Now, one of the first places I personally like to start is really in additions, right? And the way we like to think about additions is essentially kind of like what is the overall experience that we want to create, or a season or a quarter, however the organization organizes specific app experiences or specific catalogs for their customers, right? So a coffee company may say, hey, here's fall, lots of pumpkin spice lattes, etc. But it's extremely easy to create unique experiences with specific products right there as well. So here I can go ahead and select for this progressive web application experience that we just saw, I want the core selling tree, right? Rather the core product catalog. Next, I can go ahead and say, hey, for the mobile native app, I'm going to have the holiday selling tree. So then now I'm essentially able to deploy two separate types of experiences, one for native app, one for progressive web app with individual product selling trees. Or I can even go ahead and have the same selling tree. So I can build once, deploy across all. Next, I can go ahead and say, okay, well, I want to have an in-store experience, right? Where I'm going to say, hey, this is just going to have this coffee store selling tree, right? It's going to be a segment of the products, or maybe it's going to be all the products available where a customer can walk into a store, they can see everything that's available and actually order it right there to their home so that it gets shipped or pick it up right there in the store. So now let's take a second and see exactly how this is created. So how's an experience created and how is a selling tree created to populate that experience? Now, as I dive into experiences, we can see all of the different experiences created. It could be an individual experience for a specific brand, could be an individual experience for a specific device or a specific segment of a brand, right? But right here, I'm going to go into this PWA website, right? And as David mentioned earlier as well, right, this is typically a pretty, expensive endeavor to build a progressive web application. It's typically a full project that you need to do connected to a bunch of APIs. But right here, we provide you with a storefront builder right out of the box with these experience building blocks. Now, out of the box, we provide you with some starter stores just to get you going, right? So you can go ahead and create a commerce store, an endless aisle kiosk, or create an experience for store fulfillment where a sales representative can actually fulfill products right from the store. So imagine a customer receiving an email with a QR code. Think about when you go to Apple Store to pick up your AirPods, right? You get that QR code, you walk in, they scan that QR code, and boom, oh, your order's right here. Let me go grab it for you. You pick, pack, and you're able to fulfill it right there from that tablet or that application that you have. So you're able to create these experiences right from one single tool. Next is the different types of pages you can fill within it as well. So you can add articles, you can add browse pages, product detail pages, product bundle pages, right? Checkout pages, etc. All out of the box, right? Or if you're going ahead with the store fulfillment, you can add the store fulfillment page that allows you to see all of the starter components. Or you can even go from scratch where you go ahead and add your specific components that you need to, right? And really build that storefront from scratch. So your own homepage, etc. But you have the specific pages to really start, right? And all you have to do is actually select a specific page, you drop it, and then you're able to configure it, which I'll show in just a second. Now, what's really powerful as well is actually the ability to extend these different components as well, right? So adding your own custom code to actually configure it, right? A huge amounts of problems we're seeing in some of the competitive solutions, right? They tie you to themes that are very rigid, very hard to change, or you need to go into the code and make tons of changes, which then affects upgradability, performance, etc. Whereas right here, you can actually extend the solution by easily adding or creating your own component that doesn't affect upgradability, doesn't affect performance. And a great example of this is Mohawk. So they sell carpets. They're one of our customers. They were able to create a component on a product page or a product detail page where when you select a specific rug, it shows what that rug is going to look like in a room, right? So really providing that flexibility for you. So not only are you utilizing these low code, no code components to build a responsive, progressive web application, but you also have all of these different extensibility features as well. And like I mentioned, you have all of the different widgets, or rather intelligence as a widget, where you can easily drop in a next cell carousel. You can add a tailored set, which is combining specific products that are frequently bought together into a set of products that you can buy as a set or individual, really utilizing that intelligence to push products that are high in inventory, that are high profit margin products, really to the top so that those customers are seeing those products first. Now, as I dive into the commerce homepage here, what we'll see is that right here is that welcome video that we saw right here, right? And while with a lot of different solutions, you have to go in and just to change the specific component, you have to dive into code, make different code changes, or create a custom component. Right here, you have full capabilities of managing all of the different layouts, right? Is it centered? Is it left? Where is it positioned? How many videos or images do you want side by side with each other, etc., right? You're able to manage all of this really with that low code, no code capability. You can also manage all of the different behavior. Now, storybooks are nice because they have a ton of different flexibility. When you look at layouts, you're able to go ahead, make them asymmetrical. You're able to say, hey, I want this to actually be a grid. And when you think about more kind of older platforms where you're managing or creating these experiences or storefronts, typically this is a big IT effort just to change something from having 3 images to 6 images side by side, right? You have to go in, you have to change, you have to make some edits to the code and really kind of change the layout of the storefront or the content slots right there. Whereas here, with a simple click, we're able to manage the content slots right there. Now, another powerful feature, as I mentioned before, was the ability to actually go ahead and manage the different emails as well. So out of the box, because it has a built-in order map, or rather it comes with a distributed order management, right? You have all of these different transactional emails you can send to your customers. And once again, to build them, all you're doing is easily picking components. You're able to add a specific component, right? And for some of them, you can make specific changes. For others, you may not. So let me just find a good one here. Let's go order confirmation. We can go into here and add a specific component, edit it, but also easily go ahead, select next cell, which will then add a next cell specific component to it, so that when somebody receives that order confirmation email, the AI engine's gonna be promoting products that typically sell after the specific product or products that you just had purchased there. Now, one other thing I wanted to mention that's really powerful is actually the SEO within Upscale Commerce. So SEO is really fundamental, especially when you go direct to consumer, right? As many companies may not know that you sell this specific product or that you do not have this offering, you may want to actually, you want to make sure that that everything is as searchable and as findable as possible, and make it easy to find. So with progressive web applications, Google favors them heavily because of, how searchable they are. But on top of that, the ability to manage, Upscale or your site, you can add all the different titles to specific pages, add specific images as well. Now, what I'll do is actually dive back into additions where I can manage all of the different things like my entire product catalog. I can put specific products on continuity, or rather that subscription as well. I can easily move products within and between specific categories or selling trees. And as soon as I'm done with that, right, all I'm doing is actually going back into, all I'm doing then is going back into additions. Once I've created a specific selling tree, all I'm doing is associating it once again with that specific progressive web application, assigning these together, and there you have it, a progressive web application with a specific product catalog right there. Now we've added also a ton of different functionality, right? The ability to manage all the different subscriptions, right? The ability to manage promotions as well, being able to manage all kinds of attributes for the different products. And also, as I mentioned before, right, being able to actually utilize the storefront for fulfillment, being able to pick, pack, and ship, being able to reroute orders, buy online, pick up in store, buy in store, ship to home. All of the capabilities, come out of the box with Upscale to allow you to go live quickly with as little total cost of ownership as possible. So, we saw how a business user can easily launch a storefront across different devices and experiences, manage these different experiences, manage the different products and catalogs as well, and really optimize that fulfillment as well. I'm a little bit short on time here, so I'm happy to follow up with anybody, but I will move forward here.
Hey, Gleb, fantastic job. I've seen this demo a couple times now, and I'm always thrilled to see the kind of capabilities that come out of this box. A couple things I want to add to what you've just shown, so that anybody participating understands the kind of the scale of the product and what it takes to deliver it is. Currently, when we think in terms of how long it typically takes from the start of a project to end, I believe when we were talking, we were thinking in terms of, a small scale project is in that you could be live in a couple of weeks, and you're in the $50,000 to $75,000 range, and then obviously it scales up and beyond that. So this is a very cost-effective product, feature-rich, and ready to deploy in really days. Spencer, I don't know if we have any questions. I want to open it up. I know we only have a couple minutes.
Thank you. Sure. Thank you both. It looks like we do have a handful of questions. We might not get to all of them, but again, we will follow up directly after the webinar. So the first question is going to be, what flexibility will Headless Commerce offer our team?
And thanks, Spencer. I think probably what we showcased earlier and what we talked about was that ability to connect to different channels seamlessly. It's that ability that I don't have to maintain multiple code bases to be able to move from browser into wearable into kiosk, that I can leverage the consistent API connection and then just point to that where I want it to go.
Perfect. And then the next question, what integrations does SAP have to improve Headless Commerce implementations? Well,
out of the box and native, obviously, we mentioned earlier the OCC, the omni-channel connect. That is, it's that set of APIs really that are where the secret sauce lives, right? You know, you can pick up any number of studies done on performance and speed. You know, every customer sentiment study that's conducted in the last year highlights that when a site's or channel's performance lags, even a little bit, customers move on. They'll abandon a transaction and move in. This kind of connectivity and this kind of deployment ensures that you have the speed necessary that your customer will remain engaged end to end.
Perfect. Thank you so much. We did not get to all the questions, but again, we will follow up directly. I apologize for that, but Gleb, if you want to go to the next slide, I would like to also note that we do have a CX ebook available. I am copying this, the access detail for this into the chat right now, so anyone can click that link and download the ebook. And again, I would like to thank you all for joining. I would like to thank Dave and Gleb for presenting here, and I hope you all have a great day. Thank you so much.